I said that this is something you need to understand about business. This really makes people upset, especially when I'm in like Fortune 500 companies. I did this with some executives at General Motors and it almost got me fired. I said, because the purpose of a business is to create a customer. Does that make sense? Your whole purpose as a distributor, your whole purpose as a vendor, your whole purpose as a cabinet manufacturer is to create a customer. There is no other reason for you to be in business. A business then only has two functions: marketing and innovation. Everything else is a cost. So I went down and I sat down with the room, and I did this with all the senior Oakcraft executives. This was very fun. And I said, I want each of you to write down the percentage of your time that is spent on marketing and innovation. Now, what kind of numbers do you think I hear? No matter what group I say this to, what percentage of time of senior management is spent on marketing and innovation? What do you think most people answer?
0.
Yeah, 0, 5, 10, 15%. And I said, okay, everybody take whatever number you have and add 10% to it. And I think the highest number in the room was 30. And I said, great, Danny, go ahead and reduce their salaries by 70% because they're only doing about 30% of what you're paying them for. Didn't go over well. But it was really made the point that, and I really want you to think about this, if there isn't time in your business, especially you guys, where you're owners of the business, a major portion of your time needs to be focused on marketing and innovation. And if it's not, your business will not grow. This is critical. If you take nothing else out of today, this will help you, because a principle is more important than an idea. A principle is a tree from which thousands of ideas will grow. An idea is one piece of fruit that'll feed you for a day. If you look at any business, there's only 3 ways that you can grow your business. You can increase the number of customers, right? Or you can increase the amount of money that each transaction spends with you, or you can increase the frequency at which they repurchase. Almost every business focuses on one of the 3 exclusively. In other words, almost all their energy and effort is bringing in new customers, or it's getting them to spend more each time that they're in, or it's on getting them to come back and purchase more often. When you focus on all 3, remember I told you we need to leverage every dollar, every activity to get the maximum return for the minimum amount of effort. When you work on these 3 simultaneously, instead of growing your business arithmetically, you grow it exponentially. And let me give you some real-world numbers to make this point. I call this optimizing your business strategy. First thing we have, right, in any business is the number of customers. And this, by the way, is just a great thing to take back and sit down with your staff and your organization, your business, and work on. Second thing I have is the average sale per customer, which most of you have. Now, interestingly enough, and now I've worked with thousands of businesses and I've spoken to tens of thousands of people over my career. What percentage of businesses do you think know how many customers they have, what the average transaction is, and how often they repurchase? What percentage do you think can answer those 3 questions? Less than 1%. He said 2%. Less than 1%. In my view, and you're going to see a slide, I'm going to talk about this later, you cannot make an intelligent business decision unless you know the lifetime value of a customer. And I'm going to give you some ways to analyze and look at that. This, if you want to really change your business tomorrow, find out what this is. Now, answering these 3 questions fundamentally change the business. Now, let's play with some math and go through with this. This is kind of fun. 1,000 customers, all right, in my example business, and the average sale is $100. Now, are you noticing a pattern in my numbers? These are what? Even numbers that are easy to multiply. It's because I'm not great at math. And we're going to have 2 annual purchases. So every year they come back and purchase twice. That gives me $200,000 in total revenue. Some organizations are going to they'll hear stuff like this, so they kind of make a stab. They say, okay, we're going to get a 10% increase in customers, right, to get to 1,100. And then we're going to get a 10% increase in the amount we're selling, so we're going to $110. And we're going to get a 10% increase in repurchase, so it's going to be 2.2, which brings us out to a 33% increase, or $266,000. If you will focus on all 3, maximum return on every single effort that you're doing, and you really create some synergy around how you're going to market, let's say we get a 33% increase in our customers because we can define our brand, we can define who we are, we can make brand promises that we can keep, we can demonstrate that. Now, we're going to increase our average sale by 25% because we're not going to beg and give stuff away, but we're going to provide a value in the market that nobody else can do. We're going to command a premium. If I told you 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I have this great business idea. I'm going to charge $4 for the same cup of coffee that you can get at Dunkin' Donuts for 50 cents and clean up. What would you have told me? Yeah, what drugs are you smoking and can I have some? How many of y'all wish you had a piece of Starbucks right now? Does that kind of make sense? That what do you bring to the market that nobody else does? Now, what if I increase my repurchase rate by, I'm going to improve it by 50%. If I put all of that together, now I went from $200,000 in revenue to $500,000 in revenue and a 250% increase in my revenue, with the same trucks in the same building in the same place, by working on all three of these at the same time. The rest of the session, what I want to do is share with you different ways of looking at how do you increase the number of customers, how do you increase the frequency of repurchase, and then finally, how do you take that and increase the amount of dollars per transaction so it goes up every single time. And when you do this, your business gets success. What do you think it would be like in this business at the annual meeting when you started off the year at 200,000 revenue and ended at 500? Can anyone describe what that year-end party might be like? And if we let yellows plan it, so we had alcohol, that could be really good. Okay? Exponential results are what you're looking for. So, to increase your customer base, one of the things you need to do is change or increase your lead or inquiry generation. What are you doing with that? How are you getting people to call you, to talk to you, to come in and to ask about you? There's a whole opportunity here in digital marketing that we don't have time to go into. But when you start looking at, does your website have a two-dimensional static bit of information, or does your website have real engaging information? I took a dealership, this is a car dealership, that was selling 10 or 15 cars off of the internet each month, and then they'd sell another 20 or 30 cars in their regular system. And if you said, this Cadillac store, so I'm interested in a 09 CTS, and I go, oh, we have lots of 09 CTS, it would cost this much money, here's where we're going, lots of paragraphs of information. We made this one change. We had them videotape for about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, the internet manager saying, hey, a lot of people buy cars on the internet because they hate dealerships, because they lie, they cheat, and they steal. Here's how we do this. Here's who you'd have to interact with. Here's what goes on. Here's what goes on. Next email that you would get is I would walk out to the 09 CTS you asked about, and I have a little flip video camera, like you ever seen those little guys, and I'd point at me and say, hey, this is Chris Hunsker over here at ABC Cadillac, and I just wanted to tell you, this is the 09 that you'd looked at. I think you would love this. And I turn around and say, here's the car, it's got the backup sensors here, it directs right to the nav system, and here's the nav system, and you can see how that goes. This is the stitching on the seats. Highly recommend that you get this dashboard. If you look at this, it breaks down here, walks through the whole thing, uploads it to YouTube, costs no money because it's free server space. Then you copy the link into the email, send it to the person, say, this is the car I think you might be interested in. Then last email is 3 different links from customers who bought over the internet talking about how it was so different and how much they liked it, and boom, there it went. 59 sales over the internet the next month. Now those of you who are good at math, you can look at 15, 59, and you can figure out what percentage of increase that is, but in my world it's called large. Okay? What are you doing to increase the connection with your customer, the lead generation or inquiry? Second thing is, what are you doing to increase your customer retention rate? Well, first you have to figure out what it is. How many customers do you have? How many have left you? Why have they left you? What's gone on? How often do they leave you? How often do you keep them? How long do you have the average customer in your business? These are great questions to start asking and spending some time on. Do you know that you can get $10,000 of market research for about $200 in food? Find 10 customers that hate you, offer them a free dinner, and bring them in and ask them why they hate you so much. For $200 in food, you can get $10,000 worth of market research. Third, what are you going to do to increase your conversion from inquiry to sale? What are you providing in terms of the quality and